Hello, welcome back to our Python series. Today we are on lesson number 2 and we are going to work on variables and we're going to start variables. So let's get to it. So now Python's opened. So now what we're going to do is we're going to print our very first command. We're going to write our very first command in Python. So I'm using something else, an online IDE. It's called Programiz. I'll link it in the description below. And this video is not sponsored, by the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to write print, just like any other word, just print. And then we're going to put in parentheses. Then we're going to put in quotation marks. So you want to pay attention to the syntax. And what syntax means is it's basically like how this like how all these characters are ordered, like how print doesn't have any space or anything, or the parentheses, they have quotation marks inside. So those are all things that are part of the syntax. So what we're going to write is we're going to write hello world. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to run this and let's see what happens. It prints out hello world. Wow, isn't that amazing how we can just print out anything we want? So let's try something else. We're going to print, I want you to try printing your name. So I'm going to print our channel name, Math for a Chance. There we go. It printed Math for Chance and hello world. So essentially what the program does is it looks at the first line, then it looks at the second line, then it goes into the third line, fourth line. And Python is actually really fast, which I find amazing. Like, these programs are really fast. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn about something called variables. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write variables. Just like that. Just because I want to. Just because I want to get more practice, I guess you could say. Okay, so essentially what variables are there things where we can store values, we can store data, we can store a lot of things with variables, and they're really, really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say A. So that's my variable name. A is equal to 1. Perfect. So now we know that we assigned 1 to the variable A. So now A is equal to 1. That's basically what it means. So I'm going to say, well, what am I going to do with this variable? Like, it can't just be like this random variable that I added into my Python program. I need to do something with it. I'm going to do something with it. So I'm going to say print, and then I'm going to say A. And let's see what happens. I want you to observe what happens. Okay, so why don't you take a moment to observe? Okay, so I'm assuming that you observed what happened. It printed A instead of 1. And this is actually because our syntax is wrong. This is because we printed A as though it's a string. So strings are basically things in quotation marks. And we don't want to print A as a string. We want to print it as like a variable. So we're going to remove these quotation marks, because if we have them, the Python program thinks that we want to print out the string A, but we're not. So there we go. It worked. We printed out 1. So now what I want you to do is I want you to make a variable called name, and I want you to set it equal to a string, and that string is going to be equal to your name. So that's going to be your homework. Make sure you finish that before the next video comes out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.